Welcome home. Another Shakers episode with another luminary in the Milwaukee scene. We have Scott with us today to talk about, well, let's see where we go.
Life.
Maybe a bit of life and fashion and maybe Milwaukee.
Let's do it.
Scott, welcome to Shakers. I'm glad you could find the time to come and see us.
Anytime.
Lovely Cuban cigar, a little bit of whiskey. Here we are. We'll begin the process.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers to you.
It's pretty perfect.
Life is good. No question about that. And now we had the announcement today that Milwaukee gets to open up again. So bars and restaurants after 3 months, finally.
Lucky. It's not easy.
Joining the world.
Yeah. We did 2 weeks ago. This is our second week on. It's a lot. It's stress. It's a nightmare.
It is. We've got 30-odd people on staff all looking for work. So
I know. It's hard.
Thank God we're here. Nice that the mayor finally woke up and tested the waters, as it were. Stuck his finger up to see where the wind is blowing from.
Thank God.
Very good. So, Scott, in the number of years that you've been in Milwaukee, applying your craft, you've seen a lot of changes.
We've seen a lot. A ton.
What sticks out most in your mind?
For me, I think we were on a really good trajectory as far as restaurants, food, the service industry, fashion. Those were all going so well until COVID hit. And that reset button, although it was good for many of us in a lot of ways, to kick back, relax, and chill, I think it really is going to kill our service industry. It's going to be really tough. And even though I see people opening up, much like us, we got to open up, I think we'll see people die off by September, October. It's one thing, Bob, as small business people, we're doing everything we can to open up, and we're going to give it that big thrust, and hopefully we can stay alive. And then it's going to be the support of Milwaukee that it rides on. We got to keep our people working.
We do that. So today the announcement also came out that Summerfest, which had put themselves off until September, they're going to begin this little, open the weekend or some nonsense thing, has tossed in the towel as well. They're done for this year. And State Fair obviously is, and every other ethnic festival is done. Church festivals, done. Air show, done. You name it, pretty much done, right?
It's going to be a weird look, isn't it?
Most sports things are done as well.
Totally.
We'll have some things without clients being there.
Totally.
How bizarre is that? So here we are, and I think that you're absolutely correct. If you look at any of the national rags, 50% of every existing bar and restaurant is not going to open up again.
They're not even going to open.
And if they do, it's going to be for a moment in time to, try to say goodbye to people. And that's just it. So we're in a little different sitch here. We've taken advantage of the last couple of months. We've done extensive work here. We have a very talented person coming in doing some construction work for us. So reconstruction, recrafting of this beautiful antiquitous building here. Greg Reyes has done a phenomenal job for us. So all 4 floors have had something taking place.
No way! Wow, you've been busy.
And we have certainly been that. And I look for phenomenal things for Shakers for the future. Our tours started up a week ago. They're primarily populated with people from Chicago and beyond Chicago, which is our thing anyway. And that's all a good sign for me.
So are they wearing masks? Can you only have so many people? Are they distant? Did that change your outlook?
Pish posh. We are very respectful of those people that desire to wear a mask.
Sure.
I see you and I aren't wearing one today.
Yeah.
I've got my own thoughts upon the entire process, but we respect those people, whether it's staff or customers, who wish to wear that. You're certainly more than welcome to.
Right.
In the bigger picture, though, I think that we have to come to terms with the fact that we are social animals. If we don't get out of our hovels and interchange with other people,
I agree with you.
We're not going to lick this thing.
No,
and
not at all.
You do that by building up immunities and finding a way to persevere and to move onward. So let's tell the people what you actually do.
Yeah, so I'm actually a hairstylist. I own ScottFree Salons in Mequon, right downtown, right around the corner on Milwaukee Street, and we were in the processes of opening Chicago before this all happened. So that's just a fun part of it as well. So Chicago's opening up this week, really, so hopefully we can get back into that and not lose too much ground.
So where is your time going to be spent? here?
Yeah,
Chicago,
yeah.
that one, or?
So I'm in all of them, man. I'm all over the place. I actually live in Kenosha, so I'm able to bounce around pretty easy. And most of my time is spent here in downtown Milwaukee. Like that's just home. That's my place.
3 months without getting my hair done, you could tell that.
There's a lot of big projects coming in.
Yeah, there are.
And it's weird. Like for us, we had to adhere to a bunch of guidelines. Like that's why I asked you about the mask, because I was so glad I didn't have to wear one today. I've been wearing one for about 6 hours and trying to talk through it, and it's really hard to work in. So for servers and that, I feel bad for them.
We've had several long, I'm talking 4 to 5 hour compliance meetings with people. Our bar manager, Brianna, has done a phenomenal job with people. She's got everything as far as what the CDC criteria is. The difficult thing, and we've talked about this on other filmings, is that there have been changes or contradictions between the WRA, the NRA, the CDC, and the Ag Department as to what you can and can't do. And there's not clarity taking place in our industry, and in fact, for everybody.
Ours either. It was horrible.
And I've had the occasion to go to the Apple store, which is closed, and I went to Best Buy, which you have to order ahead of time when they bring things up.
Okay.
And the same thing with our office supply store. So it's difficult doing business today.
Very tough.
And that's not even allowing people to or not to have a mask on. It's like we are not open to the public, which I think is just going to be a death knell for retail.
I think, clearly, and retail is going to go down real hard, which is just a shame. Let's hope people can't go to festivals and all that. Let's hope they frequent restaurants. Let's hope they go to local stores. Let's hope they spend their time and money elsewhere and energy elsewhere, because I think that'll help us. But it was the same for us. So our we get usually governed by the Cosmetology and Professional Board of Wisconsin. I called them like 2 weeks prior to opening and asked, what do we have to do? I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get shut down. She literally said, I don't know. So it worked its way down to the police department. I was like, hey, what is it going to take to not get a ticket here, And I will say the police were awesome. They were like, as long as there isn't a crowd gathering, we don't care if you're doing hair, and as long as you keep it cool. So then we had the I don't know if you guys had to deal with this. It's WEDC. Do you know this? It's the Wisconsin which typically is about small business loans.
Right.
So I don't know how professional services like tattoo shops and hair salons and spas got lumped into that. So they gave us some guidelines that we had to go by. And honestly, Bob, we just called our friends around the world and around the country and said, man, what are you guys doing? We called people in Italy. We called people in Stockholm. We said, how do you get through this? And we got a lot of good ideas. It was like talking, like us talking, and I think that's a good way to go.
Much of this is common sense.
Yeah,
it is. Thing that you've got a food license. You have criteria to go through to get certified for that. It's the same thing. We're concerned about hygiene, we're concerned about proper sanitation, we're concerned about the welfare of our clients first and foremost, and of course our staff as well.
Yeah.
So we're not. No one is going to try to operate a business to do something that's underhanded or get around something else.
Exactly.
And frankly, the police are so darn busy doing police things.
They don't
have time
anyway,
right?
And
it's I think a broad assumption that they could be the ones enforcing something. Dear good God, let them do what they do.
Let them do more important things than bother us. Yeah, and I think like you guys are the same as us. Like that was natural practice for us to wash our hands, sanitize our state, do all these things. That's just what we do, isn't it? So the biggest change for us was really wearing the masks and I don't know, I was curious because I did see that you guys were going to be able to open Friday, but they said at 25%. And so for us, we're only at half staff, and that sucks. These are people that work on commission. This is their living, and they can't even work as much as they want to work. Mm-hmm. When's the last time that happened in America, dude? We got so many people that want to work, and we can't let them work. This is a strange moment.
Well, it is that. The closest I can come to is during World War II when people were unable to work for 4 years. And there was extreme rationing for everything.
Yeah.
But it didn't have the onus that this certainly has upon it. So I think one of the big problems is that people have not seen a scientific reason and rationale why we could not open, especially when the suburbs are open.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that we are. But so I've got to think that you and what you do has got to be just on the cusp of a maybe even a banner year for you, because everybody is waiting.
Yeah.
And they're more than eager to get the attention that they are accustomed to in this
Absolutely.
country.
And, you know, I mean, ours is a little bit unique, you know. It's not like we're jam-packed in there just doing haircuts all day. It's clearly a luxury thing. You know, our salons are extreme luxury. So our clients, as you well know, because you have the same thing, very demanding, and they have big needs. And when you have people that are going to be in the public that do need to look good, even if they're on a Zoom meeting, you know, we're good. We're good till August, you know, like we're busy, and hopefully we can build upon that and even grow from it. You know, I want to take this whole time, man, and you know, that was my outlook on it. Was I can't control this shit. I can control the way I think. I can control the way I behave. I can control what I do. So I'm going to be positive about it, and we're going to take every one of these hurdles and make it better for us, and make it better for our customers, and make it better for our staff, and hopefully in the end we'll make a better city out of it, right?
I agree. I mean, you have to look at the positive side of this.
Yeah.
You have to look at the opportunity that's there as well.
Huge opportunities.
And I think that aside from a percentage of the population who don't want us to improve, you will find a much better environment in many ways. And I think I have a difficulty saying this to some degree, but there have been any number of businesses, players that have been on the cusp.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this will eliminate that.
I think so, yeah. It comes to the top, doesn't it? You see who's full of shit and who isn't. And I think that's a good thing. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear. Is that all right?
I think you just did.
I did. I didn't know if I was going to be.
No,
but no, I think it's, you know, for us, and not I don't want it to sound like a negative thing, but for us, it actually is making our people even more diligent about cleaning. And this was a time where, like, now we have to be social distant. Like, typically we have assistants doing the shampoo or the blow dry. Now we can't use assistants because we can only have so many people. So this is taking our stylists, bringing them back, making them work slow. You know, every action, you know, has intent. Every word has meaning. You know, because it's hard to talk in a mask all day. So, you know, we have to slow down. We have to think about what we're doing, and we have to do it even better. So this is a huge opportunity for us. I think, I really believe we're going to come out stronger. And there's a lot of salons, like you said, that they stayed open throughout the time. They kind of half-assed things, and I think they'll fall to the wayside. And I think people will appreciate places like you and I have, and the care that we put into it. And I think, if nothing else, it brought awareness to that. So that's a good thing. Yeah, we'll be better off.
It's unfortunate that someone had to die to cause some of the other actions taking place in our society right now.
Yeah.
Of course, people, not to be flippant about this, but people die on a regular basis from
Yes.
natural causes. And people die from unnatural causes as well, whether it's inflicted by the police or something else that takes place.
The flu, or
So, I mean, these are not good things.
No.
And it again is the opportunity for us to open our minds a bit more and to have better comprehension, understanding for our fellow man and what they go through.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, if we can get along better with people, so much the better.
I think it'll be better. Yeah, I actually just came from a staff meeting about all of that, because, you know, I don't know how you guys are here. Our staff is like divided down the middle. You know, some people are like, we need to put signs and banners, and, you know, other people are like, I don't want nothing to do with it. You know, this isn't a political platform, you know, our business. And so, yeah, we're trying to navigate through that, you know, after I'm just starting to get open again. We had to shut down Saturday evening because of, you know, protests and riots, and that's the last thing I want to do. I've just been shut down for 9 weeks, you know. So hopefully, you know, my wish, Bob, is that I think a lot of the people fighting this fight don't need to be fighting the fight. I think they need to be quiet, and they need to be listening, and they need to understand what the issues really are, so we can make fundamental changes going forward.
I agree. Our country, of course, is predicated upon protest, right?
Yes, yeah, and I'm cool with that.
We left Europe. We left the UK.
Yeah.
We came here. And I'm just kind of thinking about what John Adams would be saying or doing any given day if he was here, or Hamilton, or Jefferson, or whomever.
Absolutely.
But it's certainly, I think, in my mind at least, get much more back to a John Adams kind of situation. But I do think that some of the issues that have been raised are non sequiturs. I think they don't belong here.
Yes, I agree.
I think a lot of these Second Amendment things don't belong here, whether it's COVID or talking about race.
Right.
They don't belong here.
Right.
So we have a tendency to mosh just a bunch of things together.
Yeah.
And I think that takes away from what the point actually is. Now, we gave out water just the other day. It was a freaking hot day. And
Yeah,
the water
you guys
station
had
set
people
up,
down here.
And of course, on our dime, we gave out water because protest.
You don't want anybody to get sick. Or
March away, for gosh sakes. You got a point, that's fine. We're not out to concern ourselves with that. My dilemma or concern is in the rioting that took place with this that was nothing but destructive.
Yeah.
And I would think that, and there have been several examples of this, but any number of people that have come to different areas to incite things, those people must be dealt with severely.
That's terrorism, essentially, isn't it? You know, like, I mean, really, that's the scary part about it, and that's the frustrating part. I'm like, protests, we had them, was it Tuesday evening, super cool, man, came down Milwaukee Street. All the clients were cool. All the businesses were cool. We're going to shut down for however long it takes you guys to come on down. It was awesome, man. We're all standing in the windows waving, and it was a good thing, and it was actually a good feeling, you know. So I've been lucky in my experience that I haven't seen the destruction. You know, I've been very fortunate. I mean, again, you know, opening up in Chicago and having ties to Chicago, that was insane. You know, and we're looking at, you know, there was trucks dropping off double pallets with bricks on it, you know, on Michigan Avenue. There's no construction going on, you know, like what? Seriously? You know, this is crazy. This is a crazy mentality. And you know what? Honestly, Bob, I'm glad I don't understand it. And I'm glad I don't have nothing to do with it. And I'm glad that my world, fortunately, being in hair, being in fashion, is intentionally inclusive, man. You know, and I've never, thank God, I've never had to deal with those things, those issues. They're real issues. And I'm just blessed that I didn't have to really deal with them face to face.
I was thinking about this just the other day, driving down from Brookfield, and I said, if you did not have a business in the city of Milwaukee or Chicago or whatever else, a major city, and or live there, this wouldn't be something you're paying that much attention to.
No.
Not that the core concepts and the reason behind this are not something we should not be concerned with, but the impact and the way it's being delivered is in such a way that really divides you.
Unfortunately.
Unless you've got a stake in something, you would choose to kind of...
Yep, I totally agree. Yeah, it's, you know, I think it's one of those things, I get that it has to be harsh. And what is it, what's it say, new beginnings are always camouflaged by harsh endings, right? And so let's hope that this is the harsh ending, you know. Let's hope that this wakes up people, even in the smaller suburbs and even in the smaller things. I think for guys like us that are in the city, that have businesses in the city, that deal in an urban environment all the time, you know, it's a little easier for us to swallow, and it's easier for us. We're a little bit more open-minded. We can comprehend it. Sure. You know, we can listen to people and say, cool, I like that idea. I don't like that idea. I hope the smaller towns in and out America can open up their minds, because this is an issue we got to... Would this happen in what was the last race ride? 60...
Well, 92, and of course,
92. You know what? I had just moved. I had just left. I was working for Vidal Sassoon in Los Angeles at the time, and that summer, I got to tell you that it was tense already. It was uncomfortable already, and then the Rodney King thing happened, and I got the hell out of there. You could just feel it coming, but that was isolated. I read today, 50 states have protests. 50 states. This is the biggest. This is huge, you know.
And to that regard, it goes back to like 1968.
1968 it was, yeah. And you know, we didn't learn anything, man. I was listening to Marvin Gaye the other night, and I was like, man, this song is still relevant. What the hell happened?
It is relevant, but we have learned a lot. And I talk about this incessantly because a lot of these people are my friends, and I've known them forever. But there are people that are very high-ranking, whether they're physicians, whether they're attorneys, whether they're judges, whether they're politicians, whether they're Lieutenant Governor of the state of Wisconsin. Yeah. We have people of color everywhere, so we have come a long way. Yeah. It doesn't mean there's not more to go.
We got a ways to go.
A long way with that. So I think part of the argument is that we haven't changed since Selma, Alabama. Well, that's not correct.
That's not correct, no.
But it's easy for us to sit here and to make those suggestions. Those people that have gone to great extent, overcome significant obstacles, to change their world and their perspective, they've done very well with that.
I think so. And, you know, I always say I'm incredibly lucky. You know, I was born in 1969, so I was a kid in the 70s, teenager in the 80s, and it was really in the 80s that we really saw, at least for me, I got to see significant change. It wasn't horrible to have a black girlfriend, or it wasn't bad to see two guys holding hands. It started to become acceptable. It started to become the norm, if you will. So I consider myself really lucky. I think we have so far to go in so many ways, but we're on the right track, and hopefully with this movement, it'll get us closer.
Yeah, I got to say this because I have gotten myself in this conversation argument a couple of times with some people who are adamant that somehow it's a shame that the Pride Parade is not taking place, that Pride Fest is not taking place. And my thought is that, and I've been saying for years, in some ways, this is all moot because people are integrated into our society. In my mind, there's not the reason to have the vast number of gay bars that you used to have anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter.
30 years ago, you walk in a club, and if you weren't straight, people are glaring at you, or vice versa.
Yeah, no,
if you
exactly.
walk in a gay bar and you're straight, they're glaring at you. And now it just doesn't matter. We're people. So I think the same thing for the most part. If you look at our clientele, black, white, Hispanic,
it's always mixed here. It
doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, and same with ours.
It's how you set things up. It's how you appreciate other people, and it's how you approach the situation.
I think so.
And the same thing with what you deal with on a daily basis. You got 3 salons, or almost 3 salons open, and you are dealing with an affluent clientele.
Absolutely.
And but you've been on the cusp of fashion for a long time as well.
You've
been in that world.
Yeah, and
so you've had a great opportunity to see all sorts of things.
I've been very lucky, dude. It's all mashed up because a lot of that affluent clientele needs that diverse group to produce the fashion, produce the art, produce the hair, produce the makeup, produce those things. And so, like I said, man, we were talking before this started. I am one lucky man. I've gotten to. It hasn't really infiltrated my world. Sure. I grew up around it. It didn't matter. It was just simply it. And my children. I find it interesting to watch them as well when it comes to diversity issues. My youngest son is 14, and I look at him at 14, and I look at myself at 14, or I look at my father and my grandfather at 14. You can really see these incremental changes that have gotten much, much better. And I obviously I'd be lying if I say he didn't see color, he didn't see sexuality, or he didn't see those things, but it doesn't matter to him the way it mattered to my father or my grandfather.
Right.
And that's cool.
Yep. So what about the future of the fashion industry? Because, I hear things.
So, it's really rough, man. It's funny. I was having this conversation with somebody today. My personal opinion is that fashion itself is halted. And I don't see it going forward for a couple years. I don't think it's going to be an industry that does much. Unfortunately, to be honest with you, dude, I don't see those big things coming. The big fashion houses are getting killed right now. Every major department store is filing for bankruptcy, so they have no one to sell for. Rag & Bone, wearing a Rag & Bone shirt now. If I don't know if you follow any of this, I'm sure you don't. It's not important to a lot of people, but for my world it is. Rag & Bone slashed their prices. Like, this is a high-end clothing line. They slashed their prices. Why? Because they just weren't making it. These are people, New York, the guy that's filming, Patrick, and I know each other from New York. New York's going to be a mass exodus. Manhattan, I should say. I should be very specific. It's going to be a mass exodus, and all these stores are closing. Salons are closing. I don't think fashion's going anywhere for a while. I don't think they'll have the shows in New York or Milan or Paris or London. I don't think those will happen because we got to be distant and you can't have crowds. Of course, you could do it virtually, but it's just not the same, to me. You got to see it. You got to feel it. And I think fashion ultimately has been a little watered down, a little bit stagnant for about the past 5 years to a decade, meaning... It used to be, Bob, the way it worked when I started, and I'm old, of course, but, you had to get invited to Fashion Week.
Right.
And you had to be invited, and you sit right here, and it was packed, and there was no room for anywhere else. Now, anybody can go at any time and go. And on top of that, we can be looking at it and get on our phone and order what we're watching, It's been capitalized, it's been Americanized, it's been watered down. And so maybe this is a good thing. Maybe we needed to stop. Maybe we needed to fail. and now maybe we can jump back up and become creative again. And bouncing off that, I was also just saying to one of my clients today, we were talking about it, and most great art, music, creativity comes out of hard times, doesn't it, man? It's always like that year or two after a rough
the best
time.
Music,
yeah,
the best breakup, the best
always,
whatever.
yeah. It's like so I do have hope for it, but I think for the next couple of years, I think we're going to be ordering clothes online. I think we're going to, it's going to be pretty dead, yeah.
Along that line, I remember going to the merchandise mart in Chicago.
Totally, man,
yeah. You had to have a card,
yep.
Same kind of situation.
Yeah.
Somebody had to bring you along so you could go there and see the latest, greatest things. And then they opened that up.
It's open for everybody, yeah.
Right. So the same thing with the CES. I was tangentially involved with the CES, the Consumer Electronics Show.
Okay.
Used to be in Chicago, then in Vegas, and it was again the same thing. You got to have a badge. You got to be in the industry. You got to this.
Special,
right? And then now it's open to everybody.
Yeah, it's open.
So I'm not saying that to be inclusive is a good thing, but I think that there are some industries, some places, some things, sometimes where it is rather conducive to the growth of that particular industry, which then filters down and does everybody, right?
I agree. Yes, completely. So. And that's what I think that's the downfall we're going to see in fashion. Like everybody right now, just like you and I in small business, even big business, saying, how the hell do I make money? How do I come out of this? How do we stay alive? How do we keep people working?
How do we take care of our staff?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's like, how do we do that? And you have to all of a sudden include like Rag and Bone. Like, you know what? We're going half price. Right. We're just going to sell half price just so we can sell it. And I think you're going to see more and more of that for the next couple of years at least. But hopefully there'll be creativity coming out of that, and it'll change. And we'll see what happens.
I would still maintain that we have some of the greatest minds in this country on myriad topics, subjects, and professions because we do have the diversity taking place.
Absolutely.
We bring things forward that other places in Saudi Arabia, that just doesn't happen, for example.
You're not going to have that, because everybody thinks the same. Right. Yeah, I think our diversity definitely keeps us out. Like I said, just before coming over here, we were in a staff meeting because our salon's so divided. So it's like, rather than arguing with each other, rather than fighting with each other, rather than me screaming at you when I believe and you scream, let's refocus this energy, man, into something that can really go somewhere. And sure enough, it came out as something better. You got one side saying let's do a post for Black Lives Matter. You got the other side saying don't say anything. And it's like, what? Let's do something that's even better than that. Who cares about social media? Let's do something that's going to fundamentally impact you, fundamentally impact them, and this whole movement. And it takes a long time. And I think I don't know, man. I have big hope for us. I do. I have a very positive outlook for us.
Fantastic. Well, the future is ours.
Yeah.
More whiskey.
I will, man. Is that all right? This is delicious, man. I love this pie. This is awesome. You're never going to get rid of me.
Fire up that stick again.
You got it.
Cool.
It's embarrassing. I'm doing it on film. I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to cigars, but it feels really good. I got to be honest. It feels great.
So what's your favorite food that you've had at some point? I mean, you've been around the world. You've seen all sorts of things. You've been all sorts of places.
I have. We've been all over. I mean, obviously, I'm very lucky. We had a place in Manhattan. So some of the greatest food in the world is in Manhattan. I spend a lot of time.
Or was.
Yeah. It isn't anymore. I fortunately spent a lot of time in Miami. I love the food in Miami. It's Chicago, come on, man, and then Milwaukee. My measuring on a city is if your cheap food is good and amazing, and your expensive food is good and amazing, that's a great city. And I think Milwaukee. I mean, as far as food in Milwaukee, I love Milwaukee, man. I mean, Justin over at Ardent is doing stuff that's just incredibly cutting edge. And then I go over to the drive-thru in Speed Queen and get great food to go. So I eat everything. I don't know. I don't have a specific.
What about your best meal ever?
Best meal ever
as an adult. Not what Mom made.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm gonna go with right now. I'm gonna go with Ardent, man. I sat over there.
The best in the world?
Yeah, so far that I had. He's done very good. Yeah. I got to sit. I came in and they were like, "Dude, just sit at the bar," because you could see us, doing our thing. And I didn't ask for anything. And Justin and the crew just kind of brought stuff to me, and I don't even know what I was eating, to be honest with you, Bob, but it was amazing. On the other hand, I go over to Buckley's on a regular basis, too, because I can eat their hamburger, and I'm easy. That's it for me.
And a carrot cake, probably.
Yeah, I'm very simple with that, man. I'm an easy sell when it comes to food.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're drinking whiskey right now. A
I
fine
love this.
Scotch whiskey.
Yeah.
What do you normally drink?
I do drink whiskeys. I'm a Manhattan man. I love Manhattans and red wine. I'm a red wino. So this is right up my alley. There isn't a lot of places, I feel, that you can get whiskey that you can just sip on. This is delicious, dude. Because a lot of times, what do most bars have? You know, they're going to have your typical
I don't know.
makers. They're going to have makers. They're going to have Jack. You know, they're going to have stuff like that, which isn't really necessarily sipping. You know, and if not, it's Sazerac or something that costs, you know, $60 for a glass like this. But
you gotta raise your prices.
I know, right? It's like crazy, but this is amazing, man.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate good whiskey that's very smooth. You're teaching me about cigars. I appreciate that. You're gonna be stuck with me now.
Cool. So what about the Asian influence in fashion? I mean, there was a time when you got these smoking hot Chinese babes, you got the Japanese that were on the forefront.
Yeah.
That seems to have, even before COVID, seems to have petered out. Why is that?
Yeah. I think it petered out for women, but I think it came up for men.
Huh.
You know, you know the look, you know, long shorts with kind of like pants underneath it, hoodie that's long, the elongated shirts. Kanye West kind of built off that. I think Asian influence really jumped up in the men's world. For women, I think everybody's kind of doing it. It was always about simple, clean lines. It was about that minimalistic aspect. And I think women kind of changed. And I think women kind of sometimes, as far as fashion goes, don't necessarily want to be minimalistic. I think it's good for guys because they really have a style now, you know, and that's like a really strong style. Trying to think off the top of my head, like Y3 became very popular and some of those brands. And I think that the Asian influence really is in men's fashion now, not so much in women's, because a lot of American designers kind of bit off Asian designers and turned it into their own and became big on their own, you know. To make it easy, like Donna Karan came out with, you know, very simple, clean lines and made it very American, and Kate Spade and people like that.
The Mao Zedong kind of.
Yeah, you know, just a plain, simple. So yeah, I think it just switched from women to men, the Asian influence.
There was a shoot that took place outside on 2nd Street in front of Shakers a couple of years ago by Harley Davidson, and it was like a 2-day shoot kind of thing, and they closed the streets down and everything else, and they brought in half a dozen Asians to come here.
Really?
From Los Angeles, because they could not find in their mind Asian men with tattoos that could ride bikes.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Go to LA,
they're everywhere.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
You got imported from LA and the ridiculous money they spent for that. But, you know, I think there's myriad opportunity here, and I think there's all sorts of people here that really have embraced better fashion. Maybe they don't wear it on a daily basis.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Here.
I think it's very cool here. I think it's come a long way. I notice it when you're in airports, right? You land in an airport and you look around and you're like, you know, this is great. You know, look at that. You know, you're always looking at people in an airport. And I think Milwaukee's come a long way. I think we're pulling in a much younger demographic. I think, you know, when you and I were coming up, you turned 21, you turned 25, and you got the hell out of here. I think that's not happening anymore. I think people are staying here, and I think we need that youth to drive that. Because that's really where it is. That's really where the trends come from. And even for old guys like me, I'm going to look at them and say, that looks cool. I want to look like I'm 25 again. I'm going to wear that. And so I think they're staying here. I think Milwaukee's really come up in that scene a lot. Unfortunately, we don't have the retail stores to support that. And we have to go elsewhere or online to purchase these things. And that is the only downfall that I've seen, you know, that we haven't been able to build up more stores and that
well,
sort of thing.
the giants are gone. I mean, Neiman Marcus was great for me for years, selling my products there. Nordstrom, way back in Marshall Fields. Barney's.
Oh, I love Marshall Fields, man.
I mean, even Barney's is gone now,
yeah.
aren't they? Or
Barney's is done. Yeah, I think Barney's is done.
Bloomie's was really good to us. Is Bloomie's still open?
Bloomingdale's, I believe, is still open. I think Neiman's and Saks filed for bankruptcy. I don't know what that means. That could mean that they're still open.
Reorganized,
yeah.
could be.
Yeah, but for us, and I remember in Marshall Fields, because I work with all these people hand in hand, and I remember the buyers saying they don't send us the new stuff, because I'd be there saying, how do I get this? I seen this, in GQ, I want this outfit, They said, oh, they don't send that to us because we're Milwaukee. I don't think it's that way anymore. I think it's changed. I think Nordstrom's gets what Chicago Nordstrom gets, what New York Nordstrom gets. I think, the internet has kind of leveled that playing field. And
Amazon,
if you don't have it, if you don't have it right in front of you, I can order it and get it in 2 days, So I wish retail could build up here. I think that would be really important for us. But it's just not happening. I mean, you remember all the clothing stores that have been around here. I mean, gosh, how many that have come and gone that were so great.
Yep.
Remember Zeta's downtown? You had to buzz to go in, and they
Astor,
had all couture.
Yeah.
And they had, and we would do these huge fashion shows with them, and they couldn't survive. And, you have all these, big names. I think there's just a few out there now. Gigi's is still around. They moved from Mequon to downtown here. They're just around the corner. I don't know who's still around, to be honest with you, like clothing
The high-end
stores.
women's shoe thing, what was that? It was...
There was a few. There was one...
Really sexy ads.
Yeah. And they don't have that anymore,
Goldie's, it was
Goldie's.
Yes.
And there was a few of them that came out and kind of bounced off that and kept going, and that was great. And it's sad that you don't see it anymore. It's a real letdown. And men's clothing stores. Remember Ala Reed on Brady Street? It was good men's clothing. And we're just seeing those drop, and that's a bummer. And unfortunately, I think we'll probably see that a little bit more for the moment.
Jeans are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're styling jeans now as well, but jeans really have become the order of the day.
Yeah.
You go to Europe and you see that, but you see, actual pants. And
you do.
You see other things.
Yeah. It's hard. Because we're such a casual society now. You know what I mean? Like, it was funny. I do a lot of segments for Fox 6, and without knowing it, I had a pair of track pants on with a button-up shirt, and one of my friends was like, "Dude, you were on TV with track." I'm like, I didn't even realize it, because we're such a casual society. So I'm always on our staff about that. Step it up.
I was in Venice last year.
Nice.
And, it is nice in Venice. It occurred to me that everyone was incredibly well dressed. They don't seem to do anything. By the way.
No. Yeah.
It's
how do we get that?
It's an extraordinary lifestyle, right? I mean,
I want to dress
this
great
piazza,
and hang
that
out.
piazza, coffee here, coffee whatever.
Totally.
You work your way through the day after day after day, with no production, no output, nothing taking place, but they're living well.
And we're going to take September off because we need that holiday.
Of course.
I love that. Yeah, I think Europe's a little bit different. I think the viewpoint in fashion's a little bit different. So I watch them, Bob, and it's more like, I'm going to go buy this Gucci suit, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to spend $1,200 on this suit.
Sure.
And I'm going to wear that 3-4 days of the week. Mm-hmm. In comparison to Americans, we're much different. We change every day, or a couple times a day, or this is what I'm wearing in my home, and then I go to work and I wear this, and then when I go out, I'm going to change into this. We're showering constantly, we're changing constantly. So the refinement of those suits, the refinement of fashion, isn't quite there. When you're in Europe, you've seen those guys, it's just a black suit, so you don't really know. He's worn it for 3 days straight. It's good. There's a little bit different cultural, right? It's a little different culturally.
Well, for God's sakes, you go to England, right? And I love London. Mm. And here in this country, you see all the styling women walking around with their Coach purses. Yep. Here's my $1,000 bag kind of thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you're in London and $9,000 for this, $6,000 for that. I'm like, that's one purse you're gonna wear or take with you once every couple of weeks, kind of.
It's a different. It's a very cultural thing, So if you buy that purse, you buy that Fendi purse, you're gonna use that all the time in Europe. Where here, you're right. It doesn't match my outfit. I'm not gonna use that, right? So culturally, it's just different, and I don't know what's better or worse. It's just different, But that's why I think when we go to Europe as Americans, we stick out and we look at them and we say they're really well dressed, but really they got 3 outfits, right?
Mini skirts, they coming back? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Glad you said that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
A woman's legs are
not a bad thing. Yeah, I'm seeing them a lot, and I'm seeing them in our youth, in our 30 and under. A lot of the women that work for me are wearing them. I think we're going to see them. Thank God we're going to have a really hot summer, because I think we'll see even more of them. Different, I think people are playing with fashion a little bit more. They're going back to saying, let me take this skirt, it's really inspired by the 80s, and put it with a shirt that's from the 70s, and something modern from 2020. So people are really working those juxtapositions, different textures, which is super cool to me. I love to see that. I love to see mix match and things that really don't make sense but aesthetically look great.
I'm glad to see some of the breakdowns, because for years you couldn't wear white until Memorial Day, and after Labor Day, for God's sakes, you better put that away, right? Ostracized everywhere. I'm glad that that's gone. I'm glad that we have a population that is so preoccupied with working out all the time. So it's not just these extraordinary young women in their 20s, maybe early 30s. That's now to 50s. That maintain their bodies. They look good. They appreciate their bodies, and they want to show off their bodies.
They look amazing. And I see it through our clientele, and even in our clientele that I would say is 50 to 70. These women and men look phenomenal, man. They're in great shape. And you want to show that off, right? If I just work 2 hours all morning to get this body, I want to wear something that's going to show it off. And we're seeing that a lot. And maybe that's why mini skirts are coming back. I don't know, but I think it's a good thing. And I think people are a lot healthier. They look better. I think it's more accessible to look better. It's more accessible to have luxury brands. It's more accessible to have luxury hair and those sort of things. So we're getting a different, diverse clientele now that wants that, and enjoys that, and appreciates that, and shows it off to the world. And that's probably what you're seeing in Milwaukee. How you said it's becoming more fashionable. I think it's just becoming more accessible. And again, probably because of the internet, and we're seeing things that are happening around the world, and we want to emulate that, and we want to be that. And there's a lot better marketing people now, so we want to look like the image that they project.
Well, there's that, but you talked about Miami. So back in the mid-1980s, Miami really came on the scene as a fashion center.
It did.
And that still goes on. In fact, it costs me more to go to Miami than it does for London.
It does. But
these creatures that are walking around, and I go to Cuba as much as I can.
You do?
Find the same thing in Havana, because the same women are moving back and forth from Miami to Havana.
And again, it's a cultural thing. I mean, I find, to generalize, Latin women in general, they want to dress up a little bit more, and so South Beach is part of, being part of Miami is generally where I go. It's fascinating because it's almost like kind of Vegas-y, right? You have the wealthiest of the wealthy coming in to hang out for a week, so they're going to put it all out there. Let me rent the Ferrari. Let me wear my Gucci. Let me throw on my Prada. Let me, do it all. And I think that's what people see when they go to Miami, and it's kind of fun, and it's kind of fun to dress up and be part of that, isn't it? You don't see a lot of horrible-looking people in Miami. We're laying it all out there. It's like I got 1 week a month. I'm gonna work out for 2 months beforehand, so I look good in this or that, and we spend all our money there. So I think it depends where you're at. Where Milwaukee maybe is a little bit more, and Chicago as well is a little bit more utilitarian. It's like, it's cold outside. I need a warm jacket, or I need a cool hat, or that sort of thing. So, I think it's just the cultural thing in Miami. You have a lot of South American. You have tons of French, tons of Italian. It's a really huge melting pot, and it's kind of a fun place to go. It's super international. I think the more cities become more international, the more diversity is, the better fashion we're going to see, the better hair we're going to see, the better drinks and food we're going to have, and going back to our conversation earlier, diversity is it, man. We need it.
Well, Milwaukee has the international airport, of course.
We do.
Which I don't think has an international flight.
I don't think it does. Yeah, I can't even hardly get to New York from here, man. I was like...
Yeah, it's nuts. Yep.
I haven't been in an airport since February.
That's
I think we were in New York in February, right? Yeah, and I can't wait to go back and see what it looks like and see what the protocols are and what we have to do.
Probably the longest period of time that I've been in Milwaukee in the last 10 years or something,
And I think we're going to be here all summer, too.
I think we will. Well, maybe to Montreal.
Exactly, yeah, and that's fun. I spent a lot of time in Canada, too. I spent a lot of time the last couple of years in Canada, and there's some great cities. I love Montreal.
Vancouver, by the way.
Come on.
Extraordinary.
amazing. It's just an amazing place. And I've been lucky enough to never hit it rain. It's always been sunny when I'm there. So everybody's like, it's not like this generally, but it's beautiful. Beautiful people, beautiful culture. I'm kind of digging Canada. I've been digging Canada lately. Good people.
10 degrees warmer overall.
Yeah, right, exactly. There's
difference?
like, what is there? There's there's not much going on. You got Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver. What's the one in the middle? By Banff. Yeah, by Banff. Yeah.
Great scenery in Banff.
Yeah, and I mean, you got those three places. So, it's all kind of concentrated in one area. But yeah, it's good.
Cool. The future of Milwaukee, what do you see?
Man, it's hard. It's hard now, isn't it? I mean, like, after this, the only thing that I can predict is change. Next week, I was on the phone as I pulled up here talking to, so I have partners in each salon. Mm-hmm. Talking to one of my partners, and who knows, man? UFOs could land next week. The killer hornets disappeared. Where'd they go? I was excited for that. I wanted to see one of the killer hornets.
And they might come back.
Let's hope. Next week UFOs could take over. I don't know. I hope we can learn from this. I hope we can slow down a little bit and appreciate things. I hope people can appreciate what an amazing, beautiful, cool city this is and all the things that we have.
It is that.
Because we have a lot. We really have a lot. You're a well-traveled man. I've been around a little bit. The more places I go, the more I love the Midwest. Mm-hmm. And the more I love Milwaukee. And, Milwaukee...
Oh, it's the people.
There is a lot of great people, and, coming up from here, when I moved up here, gosh, it was probably 22 years ago. I moved here, and at first, my first house, I had an apartment in Mequon because I was working for somebody out there, and I said, "No, you want to go downtown to the 3rd Ward?" And I literally drove right past it because on the highway there was no lights on downtown and the 3rd Ward, and so to see that grow, to see that take place. I remember when Norquist bought the lights for the 3rd Ward. I thought, this guy's out of his mind. How could he see that coming?
Peter Renner design.
Right. Yeah. It was like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? And he was right, dead nuts on. And, I think if we can kind of pick up where we left off before COVID, but in a little better way, in a little bit more appreciative way.
God, I would suggest even more before that. I would suggest that we need to have some progressive leaders that got some vision to them.
I agree with you 100%.
Not just the nice people that are there, but people that have vision and focus and want to move us in a progressive fashion.
And are willing to take that stand. I think that you need that brave soul that can really be a leader, man.
Maybe someone younger as well.
Right?
That we got.
Yeah. Too many skeletons in my closet, man. I don't know.
Well, surely mine. But you remember back the days of Eric of Norway.
Yeah, that's Malcolm. What I moved up here for.
And Malcolm.
So I moved up here to work for Eric in Norway, and then we bought out Malcolm of London. Okay. I still talk to Malcolm on pretty much 3-4 times a week.
Okay.
Still get to talk to Eric maybe twice a year. He doesn't live here anymore, so it's like
beautiful house in Glendale.
Yeah,
I remember the white carpet.
Oh man, they were killing it. They're just great people. So I still do get to keep in touch with them, and that's what brought me here in the first place. And that was good times, man. That was fun. Malcolm, he hasn't changed a bit. If you knew him, he's the exact same guy. Yep.
Good.
Hasn't changed at all, man. He's a good man.
Harry Nick, what happened to him?
I don't know. It was like he just disappeared, right?
Should say relative of mine at some degree, but
it was like bam, he was gone, Bob. I honestly don't know. We were in contact through social media for a little bit, and even that's dropped off. I don't even know where he lives now. Where I can keep track of Malcolm and Eric, but I don't know what happened to Harry, man. He was like, I'm out of here. I sold my salon. Peace out. And I don't know what he's doing. I hope he's happy. I hope he's good, and I'm sure he is. He's a fun guy to be around. Hairdressers. Service industry people, right? We're a good breed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have to be realistic about the entire COVID vacation pandemic situation. It really is a killer. It's not to be taken lightly.
No.
And many of us have been, certainly myself, in a desire to open up again.
Yeah.
We have to be cautious about how we're doing this, and certainly the massive protest marches and the riots that ensued. You have a large number of people that are not covered up and don't give a rat's ass.
No.
But at some point, there is a very significant probability that we're facing another wave of this.
Correct.
So hopefully they're wrong, but it might come back in fall. What are you anticipating, and how are you going to accommodate that, especially with that new salon opening?
Exactly. I think, first of all, it's hard to tell if it's a new wave, if we're just being more educated, right? Are we just getting tested quicker? Are we just, learning more about it? I don't know. I will say, after going through it the first time and being out now, again, man, I'm just like the luckiest guy in the world. I don't personally know anybody who got sick with COVID or that sort of thing. I know people that were exposed, but I don't know anybody that got sick. So it didn't really hit me that way. It didn't really resonate with me that way. As a business person who was losing money hand over fist, that resonated with me. I think my approach would be different. And I will say this, Bob, in our salons, as we had to remove chairs, right? So that's how we make money, same as you. How many chairs? These chairs produce X amount of income per year, and this is what how we live. Going forward, I can tell you, we're not going to put those chairs back in. We're going to stay separated for a while. Like I told you, we reached out to a lot of people to see how they got through all this, and we kind of came up with our own thing because it was so unclear. How we were supposed to open or what our guidelines were and stuff like that we just said, you know what, this is what we're going to do. This is what we believe in. It supersedes anything from the CDC or the WEDC or any of those people, so we're going to stick with that. I can't wait to take my mask off. I can't wait. It's incredibly hard. You will see, I don't know if your staff is going to wear them or not. It's really hard as a service industry person to communicate and to do those things, right? Because we're looking at people's faces and we need to see that nonverbal communication. So it's been really hard. I keep telling people, I'm smiling, I'm really smiling at you, I missed you, and so we need to get that back. And so for me personally, I do think there'll be a second wave. I do think we will see more COVID coming, but again, there's so much information. Like, how do I even decipher through the information? What's bullshit, what's not bullshit? And I think we just have to adhere to our own personal standards and what's more important to us. And we're going to be safe. And like I said, we've stepped it up. Our standards have stepped up. I'm looking at new ways. I'm going to take out these chairs. I'm going to create separation. But now how do I make that up? Now I'm open on Sundays, Saturday nights, Sunday nights, Monday nights. I'm open in a lot more larger range than I ever was before. And so that's good. I anticipate it's going to come back. I don't think our country, I don't think our city, I don't think we as individuals can handle another shutdown. I just don't see it happening. I think the government's borrowed so much money on the hope that interest doesn't rise that I think we're all at our limits, man. We are all pushed to the limits, and that's a sad thing, and it's scary, and I'm not closing down again. I can tell you that. Through all this, you want to do the right thing. We are doing the right thing, but who's policing me? I'm a hair salon. You know what I mean? Who's going to come in and say, you shouldn't do hair? If I go to jail for doing hair, I'm going to be proud of myself, quite honestly. That would make me look like a badass, right? But so I don't see us.
I got to tell you,
I'm kidding. I'm totally joking.
Some of your competition's going to complain about you.
No, they have. There's been salons. I'm completely joking. There's been salons that have been shut down, that stayed open during the quarantine. There's been hairdressers that they suspended their license and things like that. So obviously we're going to go through the legal things, but I honestly don't see how somebody like myself, somebody like you, somebody in retail, somebody in construction, somebody in real estate could shut down again. I just think we're stretched to our limits. I think our government has pushed it as far as they can, and we need to come up with better solutions, man. And it's up to people like you and I to hold higher standards, so people that do come to our establishments are much safer and much better off, So I'm going to put it in our own hands, right? Like we the people should take care of this at this point, because I think the government's done everything they can for us. And I appreciate it. I appreciate the unemployment they gave to people, the PPP loans, all that. But I don't see where more of that could come from, Bob. I really don't see how that could. I don't get it. I wouldn't see that happening.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's scary. We better do this right so we don't get shut down again, right? We had to shut down Saturday, so I was open for a week, and I had to shut down Saturday because the protests, like, guys, please please help me out a little
we
bit.
suffered enough.
Yeah, like
Honestly,
please help me out a little bit.
What about the DNC? What do you see with that?
I don't see it coming here.
Okay.
I don't see it happening. I think it's a lot to pull off. My thought on the DNC is, do we have to apply again to get it in 4 years? You know, I'm already going to that. You know, I don't think you can do a virtual DNC. I don't think nobody's going to pay attention. I was concerned about it, and you could probably talk about it better than me. I was concerned about it from a service industry standpoint as it was. We'd be coming off, if COVID never happened, we'd be coming off the Bucks at least making the playoffs, if not the championship, going right into Summerfest, going right into the DNC. You know as well as I do, it's hard to get staff in the service industry on a regular day, and you're going to slam me for that. I was a little bit concerned. I was excited for it, and I was ready for it, but I was a little bit concerned. I think now, you know, if you cut it down, if you try to go virtual, I just don't think it has the same impact. I think the Democratic Party needs to do this and needs to do this in Wisconsin desperately. If they want to get a win, if they want to, you know what I mean, do well. I don't see it happening, man. How much money? I don't even know. I was asking people today. I've read so many different things. How much money are we losing this summer as Milwaukee? Like losing the festivals, losing the DNC, losing the Bucks, losing the Brewers and all those things. How much are we already losing? I don't see the DNC coming through. I think we're just going to have to take it.
The ramifications are significant for any of the developers who put up hotels.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Open new venues that were around the Pfizer Forum.
Totally.
That will never be actualized, and that's gone. And then the city has spent a ridiculous amount of money preparing for this.
Yeah.
That the DNC was going to pay them after the fact.
Yeah.
So the city is just out that, and of course we as taxpayers,
we're going to make that up. Yeah. I you know, that's where my mind goes. My mind goes, do we get it in 4 years? Do we have to reapply in 4 years? Do we get any of that money to help us out from the, you know?
I bet not. I'm
going to say no.
I'm going to say that it was so tainted, you've got to go somewhere else.
Oh,
it's not,
yeah.
It's not
you might be. Yeah, you could be right.
But
no.
I think that's the way they're going to look at that and
just,
keep moving
we
forward.
Can't do it.
Move forward.
Yeah.
And I think that also that hopefully we get, not to say that, no pun intended, but the way that our politicians have gone about this has been rather harebrained in so many ways, because
it's reacting, right? They're just reacting.
They didn't think about the big picture. They didn't think about getting the money up front. They didn't think about a positive plan. And at one point, the decision was to have this closed-off area around the entire Pfizer Plaza. Right?
Yeah.
And they would not allow anyone to make any deliveries at all. So, bright guy that I am, and I'm talking to different city officials, I said, what about deliveries? They have to get deliveries in. And they said, what do you mean? I said, whether you're doing food or beverage or something
you gotta
else,
get, you got to get stuff. Toilet paper, you got to get
And they said, well, we'll open this up for 2 hours after 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, interesting.
So you expect the beer deliveries by themselves to come, and you're not going to let them go in, by the way, but they can walk in with their hand carts from 6 blocks away.
Yeah, that's not
delivering beer or booze or something else, or food freshly on a daily basis. That's just not going to happen.
That doesn't happen, yeah.
So there was not a lot of thought that took place with that. It's like, yeah, we won this thing.
Yeah.
Now what do you do with it, right?
I mean, you know, like I have to say though, you know, even in government, even in big business, it's kind of like us. A lot of times it's reactive, right? Like I'm going to say, you know what, Bob, no problem. You got 30 people that need their hair done. I'm going to shut down. I'm going to be open for you. Now, can I handle that? I don't know. But I put myself out there to want to do it, right? And I think that's what they did. And then you turn around and you say, shit, how am I going to pull this off?
Oh, sure. Get me the gig and I'll
find we're going to do it. And I think that's what happened.
This
was a big one. And I think that's exactly what happened.
Big one.
Yeah. You know, so, yeah, I mean, I didn't know that was the case for them. But they didn't think it through very well, but that's all right.
You know, as far as the economy recovering in the U.S., I think about what Greece has been able to do. Look at, you know, one of those countries in Europe that has just been SOL, and they mishandled things, and even the greatest economic minds in Greece really fell upon their own swords. And yet, they've been able to recover, and they're thriving well. They're moving ahead in the right direction at least. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
It took a lot of time and a lot of other people's money to get there.
Yeah.
But they're moving ahead. And so hopefully we too can find the same thing.
Can do that. And you know, with these new venues and stuff, hopefully, again, you know, I think maybe not having all the festivals, maybe not having, you know, not being able to go to a Brewers game and that, maybe that will help these venues,
Sure.
you
People
know,
still
like
go out,
you
so their
still want to be
entertainment money-
social,
right,
yeah,
right.
and hopefully people still go and spend money and get out there and make it worth somebody's while, anyways, you know.
So pedicures, they gonna still happen or?
Oh man, for sure. You know, they're not stopping those. They're not going to stop any of that. You know, I think those are like little luxury things
Sure.
that we
Oh.
want, and especially we always found in our industry. I don't know if you guys have, but in times where people aren't traveling, like if the economy goes bad or something like this, you're out looking for something.
Yep.
To feel better,
And something
right?
different.
I want to
Absolutely.
escape. I gotta
Right.
escape. I
Right.
don't want all the stuff that's out there. And so we've always tend to done better in those situations. We've always tend to maintain or grow in those
Yep.
situations. So one of the reasons I got into this business is because it kind of it went through the depressions, it went
Yep.
through bad economic times, it went through war, it went through all that.
Sure.
People need to escape, and if you and I can afford,
Yep.
give them that little escape, we're doing a good thing.
Yep.
And that's how we decided to make our living. So we're gonna get through it, my friend. We're gonna do this.
So women are still waxing, or
Yeah,
more bohemian?
Yeah, I think they're back on it, man. It's too hot to be
Thank God.
hairy. Too hot to be hairy these days, man.
Cool.
I'm glad. I think this hot summer's gonna serve us well, my friend.
looking forward to it. Scott, it's been a pleasure having you tonight. I
thank
hope we
you
can
so
talk
much,
a couple
man.
of months down the road, and
I would love it.
See how things are.
See if we predicted anything correctly.
make sure you link onto us so we get people
I'm
directed
linked.
your way. Thank
We're gonna
you, my
get
friend.
everybody. Yeah,
Good seeing you.
definitely. Thank you so much.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, my brother. Thank you.